Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of the Inner Sanctum, the one and only dark ambient variety show here on YouTube. It's been a cold, grim, rainy weekend here in Wisconsin, and it felt like a good time to get out a dark ambient classic I hadn't listened to in a long time, actually a couple of years. When it comes to weather like this, I don't know, there's something special about the rain. I've always felt a connection to it. I can't really explain that, but, the rain makes a lot of people feel miserable, but it's kind of something that makes me feel happy. It has such a strange atmospheric connection to me, and I can't really put that in perspective, but I've always connected gloomy, rainy days with music of all sorts. Oftentimes dark ambient music, but also like black metal, and just really anything that's just dark and grim and, character. So I started searching around this area of my CD shelf earlier today, and I noticed that I hadn't listened to Svartsinn's classic Traces of Nothingness from 2005. Svartsinn is a long-running project of Jan Roger Peterson from Trondheim, Norway, and he's part of that sort of, second or third wave of dark ambient artists that came out in the late 90s along with artists like Kammerheit and Nothingness. Svartsinn was formed in 1999 by Jan Roger Peterson in Trondheim, Norway, and over the years he's released 5 albums, so not necessarily the most prolific artist, but he's been noted for his absolutely dark, bleak compositions. Svartsinn is actually a Swedish word and means black mind, and that's sort of a pretty good way to put, Jan's music into perspective. It's just black and just as dark as things get. This is pretty much dark ambient music in its most basic form. But don't let me alarm you and, let you think that means it's boring, because it's quite the opposite. This is just really meditative, relaxing, bleak, obscure music that, takes you to this sort of nightmarish realm, but it's not really sort of nightmarish realm where like your, the hairs on your arms would stand on end. It's got a certain atmosphere. It's just, it's soothing in a way. I've listened to this album, while writing stories, just chilling out and calming myself in tense, in situations when I'm having anxiety or, near panic attacks, stuff like that. It's been a really, meditative and I think medicinal sort of album, if you can believe that. That's one of the really great things I think about dark ambient music, especially when it's more, basic and sort of bare bones. There's not a lot of samples and, cinematic effects. That dark ambient music can really just be this soothing, healing thing, and I think a lot of people, use it for just that. I bought this album in 2007, and it was 2 years after it actually came out, and, I remember I bought this for rather cheap. I think I bought it from the N Records website, which is a heavy metal label. They were selling it for like $10 or something like that. And I had already heard Svartsinn years earlier in the Nord Ambient Alliance compilation, but I just sort of slept on actually buying his other albums. I had heard them from some MP3s, a few songs here and there, but I wasn't able to get the first ones. I still don't own them, but I have heard them in full sense on on YouTube and Spotify. I've heard them, and they're great records. But I think it was really on this album where he, really just everything came full circle and he made his masterpiece. And that's not to take anything away from what he's done, before or since then. Everything he's done is really fantastic. The guy just doesn't really make bad albums. He's just, it's that same sort of style, constant quality like Northant and Kammerheit and Atrium Cars. Just continuously make great records. These guys don't have nothing bad comes out of these guys. It's all just really great music. Perfect dark ambient music. There isn't really any special track that stands out on this album. I think the whole thing as a whole, from start to finish, is just really magnificent. It's just really just one of those albums that, you can just really lose yourself in. It's, I don't think there really is a song that can really, you could say, like, I love this song more than the other. I don't know if you could really do that with Svartsinn's music. Not too much, anyway. But yeah, this is some of the best stuff you're going to hear out there, just as far as basic, straightforward, dark ambient music goes. And if you can get this album, I highly recommend it. I would have to guess it's out of print via label, but you know how these things are. Check Discogs, check eBay, and hopefully the price isn't ridiculous. I read on Cyclic Law's website that this was essentially the final item in a trilogy that began on the artist's earlier albums. All the first 3 albums all deal with darkness in very special ways, and I'm told this was sort of the album where Jan just accepted the darkness of life, and this is his reaction to it. And that seems a pretty good way to describe the album too. This is just accepting the melancholy, the bleakness of life. Not everyone is Everyone doesn't perceive the world in the same way, and that's something, when you have depression and other mental disorders, a lot of people don't understand that, A lot of famous people kill themselves, and, people that, seemingly have it together and think they just go, oh, that person could have, gotten help and whatever else. But that's the thing, is when you have depression and you have that bleak state of mind, it's hopeless. You can't just, flick a switch and be good one day. You can't put on your happy face and go face the world, because no matter what you do, the world just fucks with you, and you can't, find that happiness and that, acceptance of the world that everyone else can, and I mean, that's something I've had to deal with in my life too. I mean, I'm gonna be 37 years old in 2 months, and it's been a continuous process for me to try to just, move away from the darkness of sorts. But I mean, I think I need the darkness just to, balance myself. It's just a part of me. It always has been. I've been listening to dark music since I was about 10 years old. It began stuff with, bands as simple as The Cure back then and Pink Floyd. I mean, you think about those, just in generally speaking, those bands ain't that dark, but they have dark music, and that was the kind of stuff I first heard when I was 10 years old and I bought their records. So it's always been a part of me, and there's other artists too that when I was younger that I was into, like Kurt Cobain and Nirvana. They were one of my favorite artists when I was 11, 12 years old. And then someone that I considered my hero blew his fucking brains out. And, that has an effect on you, because this was someone I idolized, and then he killed himself. I didn't necessarily understand, but as I got older, I understood that, how bleak and sad life can be. And, there was times where I almost considered the kind of things that he did, and, I mean, I don't think I could ever take it to that far, because I'm not that sad, but, there's that darkness in me, and it's always there, and, I mean, there's a part of me that hates it, there's a part of me that loves it, because it's just who I am. And I think, Jan Roger Peterson, he has that in him, and it just shows so well in this music, and it's who he is, and it comes out just magnificently in this album. I mean, this is a one-of-a-kind album, just, I mean, his other albums, they're great, I love them, they are fantastic, but this is just something about this album that's just magnificent. It's obscure, atmosphere, and just special, and I think it's just one of the best dark ambient records ever. So just to show you the packaging a little bit, it comes in this poly sleeve, I believe they call it, plastic sleeve, I don't know, whatever. It comes in a slightly oversized Digi pack. You can kind of get a look at the front cover. Actually, I'll take it out of there, you can check that out a little bit better. So there's the front cover. The back cover. Let's see the inner panels of this one. There's a picture of Jan and the CD. Actually, I like taking the CDs out and showing them. This was the 13th cycle on Cyclic Law. Worth mentioning that I think nowadays there are well over 100 releases, so this is still one of the early releases on Cyclic Law. There's underneath the Digipack tray card. And I really like the artwork. I mean, it's black and white and very minimal, but it really fits the music, because Svartsinn isn't overly cinematic in any way. It's not active. There's no percussion of any sort like that, and it's music you can just really chill out to. But I mean, I don't want to alarm anyone and think this is new age music or something like that, 'cause it's definitely not. This is about as bleak as dark ambient music gets. I mean, this is just dark, dark, dark stuff here, Svartsinn is a journey into the darkest, bleakest caverns of the mind, a place where there's no hope, no light, and no place of return. This is just music to, where I wouldn't say it's suicidal, but it's just, this is kind of music you really just can just lose yourself when, in not in, a good way or a bad way. This is bleak, and this is dark as stuff gets. And, I think his only real rival as far as this kind of style is really would be a artist like Lustmord, and I mean, this is just slow-paced, dreary, painful stuff in a way. I mean, I would think this music's kind of, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a gateway into his soul, his mind. I don't know. Maybe it's just the type of music he likes to create. It's hard to say. But this is just really special music. I can't really even put it into perspective. That's, I guess, kind of the tough thing about dark ambient music. It is tough to review, because there's not necessarily those melodic or rhythmic kind of parts that, are, present in normal songs. So that's what makes it tough. But, as I've often said, atmosphere is everything. And this stuff is so rich with atmosphere. But, it's just that super dark as fuck atmosphere that just really overtakes you and just takes your mind, takes your soul, your body, everything to this world, this land where just there's no hope. it just completely consumes you with darkness, and there's just no light at the end of the tunnel, I guess is the best way I can put it. So, it's a journey, maybe one you might want to take very often, but it's one I really like, and this is a great record. Svartsinn, Traces of Nothingness.